Hello, everyone. Can you hear me now? Hopefully, you all can hear me now. Let's get started. First of all, a lot of shout outs, and then I'm going to jump to the camera and we're going to get right into it because I've got about 90 minutes to cover a lot. We got a lot to talk about, okay? Let's do shout outs. A lot of shout outs here. During that whole press conference, a lot of contributions came in. We had the following people all cheered, so thank you all for your cheers and your support. Junior Mint, Kill Bill 216, Spartan King, Golden Nobles, Ryan, Big D's, RPG Fan 32, Lucifer Soul, Insomniatic Meat, and Sambuca all cheered, duly resubscribed for 43 months, 52 total. And so hoping the new consoles will bring positivity to everyone, especially after this year. I agree. Lunabug gifted a ton of subs during that, including ones to Zero J, Mr. Kale, Mothanea, Indeed Jabs, and Underwear Time. 007 Blaine resubscribed for 43 months. Golden Nobles resubscribed for 13 months. Thank you all. Lucifer Soul Cheers says, you don't know the price tag. Fuck you. Battleduck 9000 resub for 40 months. Thank you, Battleduck. Crispy Chicken tipped me $5 and said, goodbye, Volcano High's furry hipster trash, Bug Snacks, Han, and Resident Evil 8 completely jumped the shark. And thank you for the $5 tip with that, Crispy Chicken. Up to $123 in tips. Very, very good support. Thank you guys so much. And Xbox One is garbage. Shipped me $1.30. Said no Black Ops 1 reboot trailer, but that PS5 looking sexy, way better than the Xbox. Okay. Okay. Are you guys ready? I hope so. Because I got a lot to talk about. All right. Here we go. Thank you to Doc Shoggoth, who just resubscribed for 3 months in a row. And Romy Rowe, who just resubscribed for 26 months. Thank you, guys. Here we go. All right, ladies and gents. The PlayStation 5 reveal event just finished here on June 11th, 2020. I have a lot to say. In particular, I think this was actually pretty cool because for an hour before the event, myself and my stream viewers speculated about what we were going to see. And then when the event finally happened, we were like, oh, this happened, this didn't happen, okay? So what I like to do is go step by step through the recap of the entire event, giving you my opinions on everything. And at the end, what we're going to do is go through my predictions that I had for the event and see how dead on we were correct and how way off we were. Because in some cases, we were super duper correct, and in some places, we were wrong. I'm being yelled at because I didn't put on the vest. I'm being yelled at. Screamed at. All right. Fair enough. You guys were supportive earlier. You earned the vest, so I put the vest on. Sorry. Okay. Ross Prey has subscribed for 21 months. Just keep up the good work during lockdown. Xbox One owner. Thinking about getting the next PS5. So looking forward to this. All right, get ready. Here we go. So the show opened up with a montage of a bunch of things that Sony has done over the last 20 to 25 years, including all kinds of game franchises. Infamous was in there and all kinds of stuff. The show opens up, of all things, the last possible game I ever thought they would open up a PlayStation 5 press conference with. Grand Theft Auto 5. Again? Yes, again. They're selling it again. And I had joked about this, that they were going to port it to PS5 as a joke. Again. They're selling it. Yes, in 2021, Grand Theft Auto 5 will release on PlayStation 4. Enhanced and expanded, sure. I'm sure they're going to add tons of new content to the story that they never added a real DLC to because they had to fucking keep putting shit into GTA Online. Then they announced that GTA Online will be free for everyone. You don't even have to buy GTA 5. Grand Theft Auto Online will be free for everyone who owns a PS5 at launch. Because they don't make money on it, they make money on the microtransactions, so that makes sense. They also announced if you own a PlayStation 4, you will get $1 million in cash in Grand Theft Auto Online every single month now until the launch of PlayStation 5. Probably a last hurrah when you think about it for the PlayStation 4 version of GTA Online because they expect everyone's going to be moving over to PlayStation 5. Obviously, non-event for me. I don't give a shit about GTA Online, but GTA Online has been the one biggest moneymaker in the history of gaming for Rockstar. So they're obviously going to milk the living fuck out of that game, and they've decided to do it again on PlayStation 5. Delightful. All right. So then they announced, well, it said, by the way, there was no stage presentation for this event at all. It was just all digital, people talking to a camera. That was it. It was no stage presentation or anything. I mean, what were they going to do, an empty arena? Probably wouldn't make sense. So they say all footage you see is actual PlayStation 5 footage. Everything you see here is running on a PlayStation 5. None of this is simulated on another device. It's all running on a PS5. The first game they showed off was Spider-Man 2 Miles Morales. It's actually just called Spider-Man Miles Morales. We knew this was going to happen. Anyone who had played the original Spider-Man game 2 years ago, it ended with Miles kind of taking up the Spider-Man mantle. We knew that was going to happen. So it looks pretty good, although they don't show much, if any, gameplay, just a very little bit. And it basically says Holiday 2020. So, wow, that's actually a good way, in my opinion, to start it off. Because, okay, a game we were all looking forward to, a game that we know is probably going to be very good, and it's coming out for Holiday, the launch of the PS5. It'll be around right around the launch of PS5. So that's a big thumbs up. Okay. Up next, we knew there would be a driving game presented. It's Gran Turismo 7. Now, I didn't know what it was going to be, but Gran Turismo is the Sony exclusive franchise, and they did it again, and they showed some driving. And I'm the last person to really comment about Gran Turismo gameplay because I don't play them. I don't care about driving sims. So probably I would not know if it was good or not. But Gran Turismo 7, woohoo. But no release date for that. We don't know when it's coming out. Ratchet and Clank. Holy shit. Now this was one of the things I thought was not going to happen. Ratchet and Clank is being basically rejuvenated for the PlayStation 5 after the failure of the Ratchet & Clank reboot and the Ratchet & Clank movie. I'm incredibly surprised they put this much money into a new game, but this game is called Ratchet & Clank, fuck. It's called Ratchet & Clank Fuck. No, it's called Ratchet & Clank A Rift Apart. And it looks great. It's got all this interdimensional stuff where basically all the dimensions are tearing into each other, so you've got a seafaring dimension with a kraken and pirates that's interfering with the modern Ratchet and Clank society of like futuristic animals and robots, and then you've got fantasy stuff going on. It's all this crazy stuff all kind of like imploding in on itself, and it shows that Ratchet can now use these special abilities to like change reality. He can pull things towards him and warp reality, plus he's got all the cool guns that he used to have. It looks really good. In my opinion, it looked great. The gameplay they showed was great. And then they showed there will be alternate dimensions and storylines. Like, for example, Clank gets sucked into another dimension. And in that dimension, there's a version of Ratchet that's not Ratchet. It's a female Wombat. Or was it Wombax? Who apparently is not called that. And so there's alternate dimensions versions of them that you're going to have in the game, too. In my opinion, this blew me away. I didn't expect it. I didn't think we'd see Ratchet and Clank ever again. It actually looks like a cool rejuvenation of the franchise. And for me, this is going to be like the Knack of PlayStation 5. You remember, Knack was the launch title for PS4 that was a platformer for kids and everything and showed off the technology. I think that this Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart will be the game that will show that off for a platformer for kids on PS5. The only problem, no release date. If they had said launch title for PS5, I would have been like, damn, that's going to sell consoles. No release date. So because of that, we don't know when it's coming out. Okay. Another game called Project Althea or Athea. It basically is a girl who has these powers. She's using like vines come out of the ground to attack monsters. It looks like it's a fantasy setting, but it's a girl with powers. It's a Square Enix game. PlayStation 5 exclusive, no date. And it was only like literally like 40 seconds. So you didn't get much out of it at all. No release date. Alright, up next, a game where it shows kind of like a futuristic, almost like apocalyptic society where humans are gone. And it says, rest in peace humans, written on a wall. It's all humanoid robots walking around. It shows what would have been like a barbershop for humans. Instead, it shows the barber as a robot tuning up a robot's head inside of it. So it's kind of like all humans have been replaced by robots somehow, yet there's a cat, an actual, domestic cat walking through the street with like some kind of a harness and maybe a camera or something on it. And the cat jumps up on top, says meow, and then it says Stray coming in 2021. All right, I don't know what that is. Then they start talking a little bit about the specs of the PS5. 4K Ultra Blu-ray, super high-speed SSD, ray tracing, haptic feedback in the controller, adaptive triggers, built-in microphone, built-in speakers, all built into the mic, and a headphone jack built into the mic. Now, does that mean, with a built-in headphone jack, does that mean that the standalone receiver units that have been needed for surround sound and good high-quality headsets for previous consoles are no longer needed, and this... Unplugged it. And this means that basically you will just have any headphones you could plug into it, and you're going to get full 3D audio. Maybe. I don't know if that's what they're getting at with it or not. I guess we're going to find out when we get more information about that closer to release. But I think that's what they were kind of hinting at, that you no longer need the ginormous amount of equipment to have good audio anymore. And they said 3D audio. They're really pushing the whole 3D audio thing. That if you just have stereo headphones, you're still gonna have 3D style audio. You don't need to have like surround sound headphones or anything like that. Okay. The next game was called Returnal. I wish I could tell you what it was, but I have no fucking clue. It kind of looked like a horror game or a thriller game, but it wasn't clear what on earth you were looking at, and no release date. Okay. There's a new Little Big Planet game, but it's not Little Big Planet. It's called Sackboy: The Big Adventure, and it's going to be a 4-player co-op platformer in the spirit of Little Big Planet, but it actually appears to be more 3D oriented rather than just being morely 2D side scroller. There's a lot of 3D platforming like Mario games. I've been wondering what the hell happened to Sackboy. There hasn't been a Little Big Planet game in a ridiculously long time, and so they're finally going to have one for PS5. Only there's no release date. All right, so I'm just going to... This is page 1 of my 4 pages of notes for the PS5 event. So far, only 1, 2, 3 games got release dates that we've mentioned so far. Are you starting to see a pattern? I hope so. All right, let's continue. So up next, it's a game where it looks like characters from Fortnite are driving vehicles, and it almost looks like Rocket League, only these vehicles are also using weapons, but then it looks like you can get out of your vehicle, and now it looks like you're playing Fortnite, and you can fight the other people hand to hand. So it's kind of unclear what this game is going to be. It's called Destruction All-Stars. They're definitely 1,000,000%. They are trying to go for Fortnite. The characters look like they're ripped out of Fortnite, okay? But it's got no release date. Okay. Now, there's another game that looks like some kind of an indie platformer style game. It looks like it's a combination of Pikmin, because there's a girl who can control these little creatures. It's unclear what they are. These little cutesy creatures that are like gray or black and furry. But there's also platforming in it, but there's also combat, where it looks like she's using a staff to attack big monsters and stuff in a forest. It's called Kena Bridge of Spirits. And I would say, I don't know. It looked like it was definitely unfinished. But for early gameplay, it looked like it could be interesting. And it's got no release date. Continuing on. There's a game that looks like everyone's in high school, except they're all furry creatures. Dragons, furry animals, etc. And it's a girl basically saying, oh, I gotta do something with my life. It's time to make a change. It's time to take the leap. It's time to do this. And all you gotta do is take a chance. So it's all ambiguous crap that makes no sense. Definitely remind me of like a Life is Strange vibe. Then it showed them playing in like an indie band. I was like, this is definitely Life is Strange with furries in it. And it's called Goodbye Volcano High. That one's coming out in 2021. If anyone's interested. Life is furry, someone just said. There you go. This was kind of a surprise. Oddworld is coming back. I thought Oddworld games were over with. Oddworld is coming back with a brand new game called Soulstorm. It's a direct sequel from the Oddworld games that have come out from now. Abe is still in charge of his race of people who had been slaves, and he broke them out of the evil corporation, and now he's in charge of basically giving them a new life. But I guess for some reason he's going back to this corporate area to try to destroy stuff, because it shows him controlling them and leading them and doing platforming stuff just like the old Oddworld games. So it looks pretty interesting to me. It's got no release date. Okay. Shinji Mikami comes on screen to talk about his new game, Ghost World Tokyo, which we had known about because he had originally presented this at first last year at E3. And he says it's basically going to be a combination, as we saw last year, of survival horror, but also action. It's like action horror. So don't expect it to be full survival horror a la like old school Resident Evil or anything like that. But what really threw me for a loop, the game's combat is first person. And it shows all these crazy looking ghosts and monsters coming at you in first person. You're using these abilities, not guns, but like supernatural abilities to combat the ghosts and monsters. And this is not what they showed last year. If you actually go back to E3 2019 footage, it almost looked like it was going to be like a third-person shooter game or action game where you'd be fighting with guns or weapons against the ghosts. And it looks like they've completely scrapped that idea and gone to a first-person perspective. So it looks interesting and it actually looks unique. But someone just said something, Cookie Monster just said something that really is worrying me. What if the reason they did that is because it's VR? I hope not. And they haven't said that, or they haven't alluded to that yet. But I am nervous that the reason that they made the jump to first person is because they're trying to push it as a VR game, and I really hope not. I want this to be a mainstream, horror style game. I don't want this to be only PSVR. You get a fucking headache playing it. So I really, really hope not. But at the same time, I like Shinji Mikami games, so I'm hoping for the best, and I hope it turns out well. I definitely like the art style of the game being set in Tokyo and everything. Okay. There's a game, I have no idea what it is. It says basically there's like a people on a planet who I guess they've had a rough time, and now you have to guide their coming back, their resurgence from, it looks like they've been destroyed or destruction, and now their civilization's coming back, and you're in charge of that. And the name of the game is Jet the Far Shore. Coming out holiday 2020. It basically looks like indie game stuff that I have no idea what it's going to be, and I'm not really interested in it, but so you can check that out if you want. Gearbox Software making a new game, because Gearbox has had a really great year so far in the press, as you guys know. Randy Pitchford. Godfall. Now, I honestly, up to now, I'll be honest with you guys, I had not seen any gameplay of the game. I'd seen some stills of it. I'd never seen any of it. What this game looks to me, I'm going to be very honest with all of you. You could completely disagree. Godfall, to me, looks like Rise 2020. It looks like a game that's going to show off the graphical capabilities of the PS4. Every character is metallic and looks like a god, but only a metallic version of that god. And it looks like a third-person combat game where you mash buttons to do combos and stuff. It doesn't look very good to me. It doesn't look polished. It looks like it's a very primitive, basic game. Nothing that they showed was like, oh, wow, look at these amazing combat and free-flowing. It just looked like basic. 3-hit combo, special ability, combo, special ability. And it showed a few different cinematics and enemies and stuff. It doesn't look good. And this reminds me exactly how Rise looked. Oh my god, on paper, the game looks amazing. The next-gen capabilities of the Xbox One, and you buy it, and it's like block, combo, and it's a 4-hour game. And this game is actually going to be one of the launch titles for PS5. Of all the games that they showed, this was one of the least impressive games that I saw at the entire press conference, and I was left kind of saying, I honestly don't know if I want to get this one. Like, this kind of looks shitty. It looks repetitive, boring, and shitty, and only going to show off graphics like Rise did. So I don't know about that. Okay? Continuing on. Another artsy indie game called Solar Ash, where you're a character that's completely cel-shaded, gets sucked into some kind of dimensional rift, and there's some kind of combat, but really all it shows is you running for 10 seconds. That comes out in 2021 if you're interested. Alright. The next one actually did interest me. Hitman 3. That's right. So the next game from Square Enix in the Hitman trilogy, and they actually announced formally there is a trilogy of games. This will be the end of the plot line from the first 2 Hitman games that still haven't had a resolution. There will actually be a resolution in Hitman 3. Really all they stated was that there will be a stage in Dubai, and they show you climbing the giant skyscrapers that they have in Dubai and sneaking in and trying to do assassinations. And that game is coming out January 2021, so just after the release window of the console, but at least relatively within the first few months of the console's launch. So that looks pretty good to me. And no word whatsoever of it being episodic, which makes me believe it's going to be a full-fledged game just like Hitman 2 was, which is a good thing. We don't want another episodic title. We want a game that's full-fledged out 100% that you can play. Okay? So, alright, ladies and gentlemen. How many of you remember the PlayStation Playroom? Anyone remember that? You might not remember it. It was actually a launch feature of the PlayStation 4. Because if you remember the PlayStation 4, if you bought the PlayStation camera peripheral, it had features with that camera. And one of the things was that it would actually record you sitting down wherever you were, and you had virtual little robots that would run in front of you, like altered reality. Is that what they call it? I can't exactly remember what they call it. But it's basically, it shows you in reality, but there's things in there you can interact with. And so I remember when it came out, I messed around with this, slapping the robots around and doing weird stuff with these robots. I think I did it for a total of like 30 minutes, and I never ever did it ever again. There's no reason to do it. Now, in reality, if you haven't heard of PlayStation Showroom, it's probably because they shut it down. You want to know why? Because sick people did disgusting things in it, like get naked and have sex and just gross shit, and posted it on the internet, and Sony was like, well, this is not what we intended, so we're removing the whole thing from everyone's PlayStation 4 consoles, and it never came back. Okay? Anyway, the reason I'm going on a crazy tangent is because the robots from PlayStation Showroom are back. In reality, I mean, I'll be honest, I think they designed those robots that they were supposed to be new mascots for the PlayStation. And then when that happened with Showroom, Sony was like, oh fuck, we gotta, like, people are scarred emotionally, we gotta scrap this from everyone's memories. And so they never did anything in the entire life cycle of the PlayStation 4. They never did anything with those robots ever again. Okay? Well, guess what? Those robots are back for a new game called Astro's Playroom. And what it looks is like it's going to be an action platformer. And I hate to say it, it kind of looks like the Sackboy platformer that we already saw during the same presentation, except now it's basically all futuristic robots and stuff like that. But it definitely looks like that. It looks like it may have co-op in it, just like the Sackboy game. Will it be good? I don't know. It'll be a cutesy game for kids for sure. By the way, that game has no release date. Continuing on, there was a game that looked, to me, it looked like the art style of Samurai Jack. And it was a young man who used a sword, but also guns and other things to fight enemies, these creatures that were kind of cartoony. He's kind of cartoony as well. But there's some weird juxtaposition with an old man sitting inside of a town who's like sleeping and taking dumps. I'm not kidding. This is part of the actual trailer for the game. So it's not exactly clear what we're looking at or what the juxtaposition is between the old man and the young guy who's doing all the action and combat. The name of the game is Little Devil Inside. I swear it was going to be like a Samurai Jack prequel game, but it wasn't because it looks just like Samurai Jack. And it has no release date. NBA 2K21. It exists. Moving on. Okay. I gotta prepare myself for this one. Are you guys ready? Okay. From the makers of Octodad, just to give you a frame of reference. There's a strawberry sitting on the ground. All of a sudden, the strawberry grows eyes. All of a sudden, the strawberry's leaves become legs. The strawberry starts to walk across the ground and says, strawberry, 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 strawberry. A walrus walks up, picks up the strawberry, eats it, and says, this is one of the living creatures on our island. As it eats the strawberry, the walrus's hand becomes a strawberry. You would think I was high, or, you know, this is some kind of like a fever-induced dream. This happened. You can watch it. It must be on the internet by now. This actually happened.